All right, let's talk about a virus that is incredibly common, yet most of us have probably never even heard its name. It's a true master of disguise, and you've almost certainly seen its handiwork without ever knowing who the culprit was.
So let me start you off with a little puzzle. What could possibly connect these three things? I mean, a simple rash on a kid, a serious brain infection, and sudden terrifying chest pain. On the surface, they seem like they're from completely different worlds.
Well, believe it or not, the answer is a single organism. All of these things can be caused by the Coxsackievirus, which was first identified in, of all places, a small town in New York called Coxsackie. Just goes to show you, one tiny virus can have a massive, massive range of effects.
Okay, so let's get properly introduced to the culprit behind this whole mystery. What exactly is this virus?
So, getting into the science just a bit, Coxsackievirus is what's known as an RNA virus, and it's part of the big Enterovirus family. And, just like a lot of other viruses we're all familiar with, it spreads pretty easily through coughs and sneezes or the good old fecal-oral route, which, is exactly why hand washing is just so important.
Now here's where it gets really interesting. Coxsackievirus isn't just one single thing. It's actually split into two main groups, Group A and Group B. And you can think of them as having two totally different personalities. And this is the absolute key to understanding how it can cause so many different problems.
The way researchers first figured this out was by seeing how the virus affected newborn mice in the lab. Group A viruses, they caused a limp, kind of flaccid paralysis. But Group B, it caused a rigid, spastic paralysis. And that one simple observation became a complete roadmap for what each group does in us. As a general rule, Group A likes to cause infections on the surface, skin, mouth, while Group B goes deeper, attacking organs like the heart and pancreas.
So keeping that big difference in mind, let's take a look at the pretty impressive and sometimes kind of frightening list of illnesses this one virus is responsible for.
All right, let's start with Group A's specialties. These are the kinds of infections you can often actually see. You've got Herpangina, which causes these really painful blisters in the throat. Then there's acute hemorrhagic conjunctivitis, a really sudden and pretty dramatic eye infection. And of course, there's the most famous one of all,
Hand, foot, and mouth disease. Oh yeah, if you got kids or have ever been near a daycare, you know this one. It's famous for those trademark sores in the mouth and that rash on the hands and feet. The classic cause? A very specific strain called Coxsackievirus A16. But wait, there's a twist. Other strains can cause the exact same disease but with a different spin. For instance, Coxsackievirus A6 can cause a version of hand, foot, and mouth that's way more severe and widespread. It's a perfect example of how these different serotypes, think of them as different flavors of the virus, can have really different impacts.
Okay, let's shift gears into more serious territory. Coxsackieviruses are actually a major cause of what's called aseptic or viral meningitis. That's an inflammation of the lining around your brain and spinal cord. And what's wild here is the crossover. While a few of the Group A viruses can cause it, every single one of the Group B viruses can.
And that really shows you the specialty of Group B. It loves to attack our internal muscles. An infection can cause inflammation of the heart muscle itself. That's called myocarditis. Or it can inflame the muscles between your ribs, causing something called Pleurodynia, which is known for a sudden, stabbing chest pain that is, as you can imagine, absolutely terrifying.
And the reach of Group B just keeps going. Researchers have linked specific B strains to all kinds of other serious problems. I mean, look at this. Coxsackievirus B4 has been linked to pancreatitis, which can actually trigger juvenile diabetes. Other B types can cause pneumonia, hepatitis, and even a really severe disease that affects multiple organs in infants.
So you might be thinking, with a virus that can cause anything from a little rash to a major heart problem, how on earth do doctors actually track it down? Let's get into the detective work.
Well, the investigation starts with collecting samples from places the virus likes to hang out. So throat swabs, stool samples, or even spinal fluid if they suspect meningitis. Now, the old school way of doing this, well, it was to inject the sample into mice and see what kind of paralysis they got. Crazy, right? Thankfully, today we have a much, much better way, molecular testing, or PCR. And modern tech is just incredible. These PCR tests are looking for the virus's genetic fingerprint, and they are more than 95% sensitive. What that really means is we can get a super fast and super accurate diagnosis. We can find out not just that it's Coxsackievirus, but often the exact serotype that's causing all the trouble.
So, after going through all of this, what's the big picture? What's the main thing we should really take away from all this?
It really boils down to this. Coxsackievirus is a true shapeshifter. It isn't one single enemy, it's a whole family of viruses that can show up as dozens of different sicknesses. And once you understand its two main personalities, Group A and Group B, that's when you can finally see the hidden thread that connects a simple rash to a really complex and sometimes life-threatening condition.
And that kind of leaves us with one last big question. The story of Coxsackievirus proves that one single culprit can be hiding behind so many problems that seem completely unrelated. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? How many other common illnesses that we see as totally separate things are really just different masks being worn by the same hidden actor?